Jeremy Lee recently did a report.
Chief of Police John Pelletier said, for folks to say that we weren't doing everything to get people out is a lie. It's false. And he presented new information that sheds light on what was happening at that bottleneck where Front Street meets the highway. But first, behind me is Old Stewart Road. It leads from a section where the bypass meets Keawe Street and then leads to the backside of the neighborhood of Waikuli. It was here that an impromptu evacuation route was established on August 8th. We previously showed you how a single mother, Chantel, with her son followed a line of cars at 4:38 p.m., directed by a lone police officer onto a dirt road to head north and end up on the other side of the gridlock. Her image appears to be used in the report. Also in the report, an image by the Shell station, Kapunakea, at the highway.
Now, let me stop right there because I was actually able to go directly to the link of that article that speaks directly on this report. So, the Maui Police Department preliminary after action report of this response to the deadly August 8th wildfires were not will not be completed for a few more months, and the final report may take up to 2 years. That will be a dive into what went right, what went wrong, and how we can improve, Maui Police Chief Pelletier told the Maui Police Commissioner on Wednesday during his meeting. But Pelletier passionately told the Police Commission, "We saved lives." In Lahaina, while the fires was raging and moving fast in dry conditions and in winds up to 75 miles per hour, the chief said his officers went up and down neighborhoods using their PA systems and bullhorns to tell people to urgently evacuate. Officers also went door to door, pounding on them when necessary to make sure people knew about the immediate dangers. Pelletier told the story of an officer who pleaded with the resident to leave, begged him. The person didn't leave. The officer came back later and recovered him. Also said his officers literally used their bodies as rams to break through gates and get people out. They're absolute heroes. Chaotic was August 8th for first responders. So in this article, we have a huge breakdown. Maui dispatchers received about 4,523 calls or texts. On average day, they receive about 1,685. So that's clearly an increase. That then caused an overflow of calls from Maui. So then people started dialing the non-emergency Maui number, which then received over 2,796 calls, and this was evident because the 911 lines were backed up. This article further says that Pelletier told the police commissioner that it is almost impossible that they would answer the calls. They did everything that they could to get the information out. That's what the heroes in communication were doing. They're the lifeline for first responders, not just for police, but also for fire and medical. With the information coming in fast and furious, Pelletier said police personnel were doing the best that they could to absorb the ever changing information and get people out of harm's way with many challenges. Those challenges included the utility poles, which were toppled by the high winds and blocking, he said, not even a tank could get past some of these downed utility poles. So they were showing pictures of some of the down utility poles. You guys can see that. I'm showing them here so you guys can view them on your own. They further add that it was also a challenge directing traffic away from the fire that ultimately would burn 5 square miles when a massive exodus was underway of an entire town. And an old town and narrow roads that has only one main road leaving the area going north and south and no evacuation routes going east and west. Gridlock was inevitable. So if you guys remember, we were talking about the bottleneck situation. Well, one thing that this is not addressing whatsoever is the roadblocks. It's also not addressing the fact that some officers told people to leave or to go a different way or not to go this way or this was blocked. So that is something that needs to be investigated, right? So Maui Police Sergeant Chase Bell presented a PowerPoint showing major intersections in Lahaina and how the officers were trying to direct people away from the fire. This included officers directing people who were trying to leave West Maui by going south through Lahaina to turn around and go north away from the fire. Officers were trying to keep the roads open only for people in Lahaina trying to evacuate, Bell said. So the map shows police officers turn traffic around. that was trying to leave West Maui through Lahaina and the fire, while people in Lahaina were trying to evacuate. If you guys can see that U situation right there in this picture, police personnel also were spread thin the day with the multiple fires. Pelletier said he could not relocate all officers away from the upcountry because they were actively doing everything they could to save lives in those areas as well. Those officers also were 30 minutes or more away from Lahaina. The main fire in Lahaina ripped through the town in about 17 minutes. He said that the officers were in Lahaina acted bravely. He said some went into buildings that would burn to the ground or where people would have died from smoke inhalation if his officers had not threw them into cars for safety. Pelletier told police commissioners, I think we were able to do in a little amount of time really shows how much officers were trying to get people out of harm's way. These cops that lived in the area, their own family members died. And for anyone to say that we were not doing anything to get folks is a lie. It's false. And the facts will show that. He also wanted to debunk a rumor that there was a lot of looting and pandemonium after the fire, citing that the violent crime rates went down 22% and that property crime was up 27%. Although I will say this, are they also accounting for the people that were asking about properties? Because that to me is the land grabbing situation is criminal, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a documented crime, even though, in my opinion, that's pretty criminal to do during that crisis. While the Maui police have begun its after action report from the fires, Pelletier said the department is still very much in action, part of the incident with the main mission of identifying every person who died in the fire. As of September 20th, there were 80 people identified of the 97 remains found, with 23 open cases of unaccounted for people, down from more than 3,000 at one point. Pelletier closed his report to the police commissioner by passionately saying, I could not be more proud of the men and women in this department. This agency absolutely represents his county with honor, with courage and valor and compassion. Let's finish watching this report.
Where Travis Miller evaded the roadblock and drove under the power lines to avoid Front Street altogether and get directly onto the highway. But back where I am at Old Stewart Road, I spoke to an eyewitness while covering a story about the autism community rallying to provide aid. The father escaped on this very route of Old Stewart Road with his special needs son among his family of 5.
Had a few friends that was riding their bikes, came from that direction, letting the officer know that this way is clear for us residents to evacuate. Whatever was going on, he took that leap and just gave us residents a chance to evacuate. So we appreciate him. We don't know your name, but we appreciate you.
Did somebody tell him that the road was good?
Yeah, there was like a few dirt bike riders checking it out, seeing if there was any down power lines. Dirt bike riders came back, giving the green light, saying this direction is good to go. It's clear from any dangerous power lines on the road for us residents to ride. And he just got out of his vehicle and just, giving us sign, please continue going in this direction. Keep it going, keep it going.
The chief of police also showed this image of Front Street and Honoapiilani Highway. You can see the traffic is incoming from the north to south and had to be redirected at that point. Green arrows indicate officers trying to get the traffic from both the highway and Front Street into the northbound lanes. And at this point, some in-government agencies are reaching out to us to provide more information about the emergency action plan that should have been carried out on August 8th. We're going to have more in future broadcasts. Reporting from Lahaina, Jeremy Lee, KITV4 Island News.
And this is just for the police part of this investigation. We know that the role that Mayor Bison plays in this is a lot bigger than what they're actually saying. In my opinion, I feel like all of this needs to be thoroughly investigated. Now, I still don't agree with everything that Pelletier is putting out there. I mean, he's having this meeting with the police commission, and he's going to say what he's going to say to, put out that, they did their part. And I'm sure that there were officers that did their part, but a lot of that is to be seen, in my opinion, because why are the residents speaking out and saying this, and then you guys are showing something different? And in this police commission meeting, how come other residents aren't there also to speak their thoughts about this? Just a question. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out.